Good morning, everybody. 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Hmm. Don't know what's going on here. All right, we're just gonna go ahead and get started, anyways. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, guys. I'm having some issues with the stream. Had a ton of issues yesterday. Internet was cutting in and out. Wasn't able even to get on the computer. But we will try now. It's still not showing. Ah, well. Okay. Anyways, let's get into it. Take a look at the markets here. Looking at the MES. You can see we have started to pull back after making a high a few days ago on the 8th. We hit that all-time high of 38.24. I have kind of stalled out up here. Well, let's just go through the prep real quick. We only have a few minutes. Like I said, I've been having trouble with the stream and the internet. Good old Spectrum, so we don't have as much time as I would like before the market opens. So let's do this nonetheless. There we go. Blue is previous day high and low. Red is previous close. Open is green. We have a weak market environment. We are outside yesterday's trading range to the downside. So what do we want to look for? We want to look for shorting opportunities on an intraday basis. You can see on the 60-minute here that we basically have a few areas that I highlighted last night before going to bed. that the market could retrace to um, and pull back further from, and we've seen that right here. No trades taken though. Let's go into 15 minutes and highlight this. Couple arrows show where some nice shorting opportunities yesterday. Actually, the weekly Globex open right here was at 38.15.75. This was on Sunday afternoon when the Globex session started. This was the open yesterday overnight, and during the regular trading hours we hit that, tagged that, and that was actually the high of day. And then you can see the nice pullback that we had. So let's go ahead and get this going real quick. Finding the session start for Globex right there. The overnight high, overnight low is all the way down here. Lock that in. Previous close. Lock that in and edit it. Okay. 84 and open. 37.92.75. 37.91. Quarter. There's our VWAP. 37. 78.50-ish. First 15 minutes obviously has not been formed, regular trading hours, so we're just going to leave that there, and once that first 15-minute candle gets formed, we'll go ahead and move that over. So here's the Globex low on the session down here. We've come back to that and retested. Right in here you can see we're holding that and popping up. See that on the 60-minute as well. We can get back up to this previous close open area. This is our area of interest right now. See the nice move down away from this particular spot. Price level broke through the low from yesterday, which was right in here. Previous day low. Right in there. So if price can get back up above this and get into this area, it's almost like a trap. And this would be a good shorting opportunity for us over here. You can see that on the 60-minute pretty clear too. Right there. We've already used this. We've already tagged this right in here. This was an overnight level that got hit. Time about 3 in the morning, my time, which is West Coast. So probably not going to rely on that. Let's take a look. Other than that, we got some levels lower. 37.50.50, 37.40.50, 37.16. These are the levels that we're going to pay attention to shorter term. Other than that, we got some room to the downside. So, let's see here. Well, you know what? Let's take a look at the news. Retail sales unexpectedly drop in December. Okay. What else do we have? We had PPI come out, manufacturing, retail sales X autos. Yeah, retail sales did pull back. Year over year, it's still up. What do we have coming up. We got sentiment, business inventories. That's at 7 o'clock. So, not a whole lot. Let's see. Any news? Walmart CEO to retire. Big banks kick off earnings. Who reported? Is the question. Let's see. We have a position, full disclosure, in B of A, and that looks like it is going to gap down. 33 quarter. We closed almost at 34 yesterday. 33 quarter. It's right in here. Not a big deal. Look at some other futures markets. Bonds holding off of this swing low. Still holding that on both the 30 and the 10. VIX is hanging on to this 22.50, 23 level. Nasdaq's trying to hang in there as well. Gold, not doing much. We said that the other day. Crude oil is maybe showing some signs of a little pullback going to come. Bitcoin rejected at 40,000. Dollar is holding that level that we talked about on Wednesday, that 90 level. It's still holding it. So we'll see. We may be in store for a little pullback going into the weekend. They he's not doing anything. Look at Intel. 59. He's gonna open lower, I think, as well. We're gonna get set to open here. 15 seconds. Put an alert on this so we can pay attention to it. Hopefully we can get back up here. There we go. And we're up. So it may be a little hectic right now off the open. Let's just wait and see what's going on. Let's look at some of the stocks that we have. See if we have any big movers right away. Intel, opened. Let's see, what else do we got here? The banks, B of A, he gapped down a little bit. Who reported? JP Morgan, maybe? Citigroup is down. Oh, JP Morgan did report. Well, they beat by almost more than $1. Gap down though. Goldman, he didn't report, but he gapped down too. Fargo, he gapped down too. XLF actually made a new high yesterday. Gapped down and pulled back a little bit. Not much to do at the moment on that. What else is there? USB. He didn't report, but they pulled back. So all banks are pulling back. Makes me want to look at the 10-year and see where we're at. Had a nice run in the 10-year. Yields have definitely gone up. Got close to 1.2 on the 10-year, rejected, and kind of just sitting there. I think we may pull back to sub 1% before moving up again. Got a gap to fill up at 1.5. We'll see. See how that plays out. If bonds keep going up here, though, yields will pull back, and we should get that pullback into that sub 1% again on the 10-year. This is the 10-year futures contract treasury. We do have some room to move up. Got this nice hammer candle setting the swing low. See if it can rally back up. Basically spent most of the year up in this area just consolidating. We broke that level. And now you're seeing a reaction back up to the upside. Same with the 30-year. 30-year actually got much closer to its March low price point, but it's still trying to hold on, and it's got room to reverse too. Have to keep an eye on that. There we go. Little pop off this double bottom, overnight low. What is my computer doing? Like I said, we have this short setup up here above the previous close and open of 91.25. This was yesterday's closing area right in here, 86 to 93. Overnight high, 97. If we can get back up in here, nice drop off of this price level. You can see it on the 60-minute as well. We'd want to see something come up in here. We already had this marked, but this happened in the middle of the night. This was the break of this range right in here. 76-ish, 75. The hourly. So yesterday, we tagged the weekly Globex open. This was the Sunday night afternoon open, 3 p.m. Tagged it a couple times, and then had a nice drop. And then you had a break. Come on. You had a break through this price. Not much of a break, but it definitely did break through. See if it wants to hold. We basically just come into this range. From one range to the next. This was actually the best trade setup we've had in really, I think, all week. Up in here. You had a nice little move off of that. Not to say we were in that the whole thing, but definitely took some points. 51.25. That's the move. Out of that, it's about 1%, 1.5%. Don't have to grab all of that to make a nice little chunk of change. This is the micro contract too. If you're trading the ES, then instead of $5 a point, you're looking at $50 a point, right? So we tagged the VWAP, 78. We're gonna wait for it to get up higher. Like I said, on the bigger picture, we have a weak market environment. We are outside yesterday's trading range, below the previous close in the open, therefore weak. And looking for shorts on retests are usually higher probability trades. Unless we're coming into a daily level, and we're not really coming into a daily level yet. We'd have to move down a little bit lower for us to do that. Another 20 or 30 points in the very least to come into that daily level. Just waiting for the first 15 minutes to get formed, and then we'll wrap some lines around that. The lines that we're wrapping around these price levels just to help visualize um, certain key levels. Not necessary, but that's what we do. That's the process that we take. You can see on the ES charts, we don't really have anything marked up. You don't need them on there, but it helps visualize things. And this 240 minute definitely shows you the range that we had been in. That got broken. Well, right back into this area that took out the previous highs. Right here, 3760-ish, 3750-ish. So we break down here. If this holds, we'll probably go retest up in here. Bigger picture. But in the meantime, we have some shorter term potential day trade opportunities right in here. So let's wait for price to get up in here. We have it alerted. We'll see what happens. Take a look at some stocks. In the meantime, American Airlines wanted to get into this gap fill down here at 1489 and popped up a little bit out of that zone. Apple not doing a whole lot. Consolidating. Axion, another gap up. Now, Airbnb, I'm back above its two previous swing highs. Now pulling back a little bit. Firm Holdings. It's just IPO'd 3 days ago. Yesterday set a high of almost 138. Now we're pulling back. If we do anything, we'd wait for a gap fill down there. Create a little alert. Keep an eye on it. AI, another recent IPO. This guy's just consolidating right in here. This 140, 130 level. Not doing a whole lot. We're looking at weekly and daily charts. Weekly and daily charts. This is how we swing trade. We utilize the weekly and the daily. If we need to, we'll look at monthlies too, but typically all you really need is a weekly chart to swing trade. AMD set a high this week and is pulling back. Okay. Cannabis stocks still going. Afria getting back up towards its highs. That should mean Tilray is up. Yeah, Tilray is up too. We are not in any of these stocks. Not in any of these stocks. Definitely not buying it up here. Wait for a pullback. This 12 level looks pretty good. Or there's a gap fill lower. But with the momentum that these things have, good chance that it may not get back down here before it keeps popping up. But the risk for us is just, it's too great to try to chase these things. We'd rather wait for pullbacks. If that makes sense. Let's see what else we got going on. Compass. A whole lot. Trying to find stuff that we have been paying attention to that we want to take action on so we can get some trades off here. Okay, Camping World. It's been in a steady little downtrend. It's hanging on to this swing low right here off this hammer candle at 26 to 24, or or 23, excuse me, has rallied above that. So a retest back lower before taking off. 29 quarter-ish wouldn't be a bad spot. Let's alert that. I had it lower, but it popped up and still hasn't come back, so may have to move up our alert a little bit here. Basically, you got the downtrend. I can see. Right? What is this, a wedge? Descending triangle? Whatever that name is. Set the low, held the low, higher high. Could continue to move up. That's what we're looking for. 3D Systems has been on a tear. Still, well, it's down, but we're having a green day, green candle. Dillard's is a recent trade that we missed, totally missed. Beautiful gap fill right here, 53.50, and it was a, it's painful, a $14 move in 2 days that we missed. But that was a great opportunity right in there. Now that it's done that, what do we think it's going to do next? It's still got a lot of room up to its all-time high at 144. Not to say that that's where it's going to go immediately. It's got to get over this chunk of trading in here. It's got some highs to contend with. You can see this is where it broke down from last year. About a 70% drop from this level. Seeing a little bit of selling pressure coming in right now. Suspect it would come back into this range. I have it marked. We have it marked at 57.50-ish. This was the origin of the move that took out this swing high. Is back here. So if we can get a little bit of a pullback before it really takes off, that would be nice. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Check the ES real quick. Okay. There's the first 15 minutes. Let's see if we can get over this. Market attempt to rally off of these lows. Ran into some resistance here and pulled back. We've held the low. We set a higher low off the overnight low, and now we're rallying back up to this spot. So we'll see if we can get through this. We have news coming out at 7 o'clock. So we shall see. Okay. We're at VWAP 77.75. Again, we're waiting for this upper zone, upper area above the previous close in the open for a short, weak market environment. DraftKings filled its gap, 56.75-ish. Reversed, kind of just hanging out here. Hanging out at this previous swing high right in here. We took it out, filled the gap. All-time high up here. Let's see if this thing wants to consolidate right in this range. If so, then the high will be in play. Not necessarily today, but that would be a target if we got into it in this particular area. eBay, we are long eBay. eBay is popping up. through the downtrend, very similar to what was that we were just looking at? Dillard's, DDS, yeah. Swing low, downtrend, break through it higher. Got some room to the high to go. See if we can get through this swing high right in here in the middle of this range. This is just a retest off of this, which is a retest off of this. So are we gonna pull back off of this second retest kind of thing? Or do we want to hold and move higher? Wouldn't be surprised if we pulled back to this 54 right in here. Previous swing high. Right here you can see we got in right in the middle of this range, right on the top of this range, around 51.50 was our price. It went a little bit deeper into the level and then popped up, pulled back. Could see it pull back into here before taking off. 52 is not a bad spot either, but tends to just pull back to the nearest level if it's got some momentum to it. So we'll see if it pulls back here and then pops. I don't know if that'll happen today. Another stock we missed. ELYS Game Technology, online sports betting company. We've been looking at this thing since it was back at 350-ish. Gapped up here, pulled back, consolidated, and now it's ramping up again. I'd wait for it to dip into this candle. Maybe 6 would be a spot. We'd have to go down to a smaller time frame to find it. But right in here for a move to take the high out and go higher than that. Let's see. Fuel cell again down. Yeah. We've got some levels marked lower on this guy. Not much else to say besides that. There's a gap now to the upside at 1913. Pay attention to that. Got earnings coming up. Alert that guy. Let's see, what else do we got? GDX, gold. Not doing a whole lot. GameStop has been flying high. We're seeing some weakness now. Gap here, 31.44. If you have to trade this, then I'd wait for this. That would be the play. Oh, come on, Intel, let's go. Intel, the strong gap up the other day on the CEO stepping down, and it's just staying up in this range. Filled its gap up at 60. Let's see if it wants to stay up here. We are long Intel. I think our price is like 48, yeah, 48 quarter on the big account. Okay. Let's see, small caps. Hit a high yesterday. Pulling back a little bit today. We were waiting for Loan Depot to go start trading, and it hasn't done that yet. This is not the right chart. It's not loading for some reason. Still haven't opened trading on that. You're good. Nikolai, long Nikolai at 1550. You can see off of this low right here where we got in. Saw a nice ramp up, 20, 2250-ish, 2260. And it's just consolidating up here. Looking for a gap fill at least up to 28-ish would be the spot. About 8 minutes, and then we have some news coming out. Poshmark that IPO'd yesterday. Oh, and this thing has opened lower. Not much to say on that unless you go down to smaller time frames. Nothing really to see. PAL, another stock we've been wanting to get into and we missed at 4. This thing shot up to 9 in a matter of 2 days. Gap fill lower at 576. And a smaller level, smaller time frame level at 480. Just gotta keep an eye on that. What else do we got here? Space. Space was a big winner yesterday. Gapped up. We're long space from 1750. Been long since back here. Actually, back here. Waiting for this guy to take its high out. We're just making higher lows, higher lows, higher highs. Like to see this thing finish the week on a higher high above 36, 6ish. Yeah, right in here. 35.85. Keep this going until it takes this high out. Smith & Wesson gun stocks have been on a tear. Long from 16. Saw it almost take its all-time high out up at 2350 a few days ago. Pulled back, filled its gap, and now it's trying to get back up there. Let's see, what else do we got here? Tesla, where's Tesla at? Tesla's just consolidating, moving sideways, drifting a little bit higher each day. It's got some gaps lower. When does it have earnings? 27th of January, okay. Still have some time. Under Armour, we're long Under Armour. 93% on this game. Long from 950. We got a gap fill that we're waiting for up at 20. If you're not long by now, then holding this gap down high area would be the consolidation point, would be the point we'd want to see it hold for a close of the gap up at 20. What else do we got going on here? Oh yeah, Wolf. Petco public yesterday. Stuck in yesterday's range. I have a couple levels marked. See if it wants to get down there. Could take off from here. Exxon has been a nice trade for us. Up quite a bit on that in terms of percentage. About 37%. Our price, I think, is 35.50. Yeah, 35.25. Filled its gap yesterday from its swing high. Right in here, 50-ish, 55. had a nice gap with a big move down, retrace that up to the gap fill, and now we're seeing some weakness off of that. Now we got measly 25 shares, not a big deal. But crude oil has been going up. You're seeing the whole space get up there, so we've been long. I expect it to keep going. Take a look at the futures. Can't get over this. Pulling back to the open on the day session. We opened up at 71.50 and basically just tag that. Let's see if we can hold it. 2 minutes to the news. The news is, what is our news? Business inventories and then the Michigan consumer sentiment. Oh, we shall see. Watch the charts, not the numbers. Got about a minute and a half. Oh, yeah, look at this guy. Let's see here. Where is he? Wayfair. If you can see that, it's very similar to the Dillard's chart, eBay chart that we've been looking at a little bit earlier, except this guy actually had the real momentum behind it. Marked it up all to hell down here and never actually hit on any of these retests that we wanted, or we weren't in front of it, and it rallied all the way up. I thought we may take a approach, take out the swing high. There was a gap here, thought it could pull back and then go. It decided to just go. So nice trend line break, downtrend, broke through it in a strong fashion. Saw that, should have known that once you get a close right up in here, likelihood, especially with the weekly where it is, that it was going to keep going. But didn't participate. Had the right idea. Alright. Alright, 7 o'clock. Let's see what we want to do here. No close above the first 15-minute candle. Again, we're waiting for price to get back up here. I know it's about 20 points away. And if there's an opportunity to get long prior to that or to ride that up, we will. Right now, we're just waiting and seeing what the market wants to do. Not a whole lot at the moment. We've got some numbers coming out. Consumer sentiment. Why aren't you out? Not that it matters, but good to pay attention to it. Okay, it's looking like it's coming in lower than previous. Slightly. Inflation expectations picked up. Yep. Okay. Industrial production jumps most since July. Producer price inflation slows. We just got some inflation expectation numbers, and it looks like it's higher than previously. I mean, if you guys want to see inflation, just simply look at some of these commodities. Well, yeah, I guess Bitcoin is a good one to look at first. Crude oil has popped up, has rallied up, right? Price of corn, multi-year high that we're hitting, up at 540 on corn. Cost of these are going up. That's called inflation. Soybean, multi-year high. Ooh, filling a gap on the futures. Wheat, multi-year highs. Right? Copper, multi-year highs. There's an ETF that tracks. Where is it? Is it? Yeah. This thing has rallied up. It's nothing like looking at the futures contracts, but what was the other one? Wood lumber ETF. Price of lumber back up towards its highs, multi-year. Prices go up. The expectation is prices are up and going to keep going up in terms of inflation. So that's what we're looking at. If it stays up here, we don't know. We'll see. Oh, there's the ES pulling back, retesting the overnight low. Cash markets by SPX, daily chart of the futures contract. These alerts are about to go off. Break these lows. Yeah, it's gonna break it. This does actually break it. Look out for maybe another 10 or 15 points lower for this daily level to come into play. The 50 level was right in here, off the daily. Not the greatest looking level. Rallied up, pulled back, tested the high, pulled back to it, and then it broke up, so not the cleanest. Now we do have this area right in here as a retrace spot for a short. Basically, this is breaking of those lows right in there. So a pop back up here to 75-ish would be a trade. I don't think we're going to get back up here. The previous close and open anytime soon. See if it wants to hold this. Got a little bit more room to go, another 10 points or so. VIX getting a little bit bid right now. VIX futures up to 24, almost 50. Bonds are, they're up, but they're kind of struggling to get any momentum. There we go. Keep pushing down a little bit here. So we said at the beginning of the stream, looking for shorting opportunities on retests. We have a weak market environment outside the previous day's range, below the open and the previous close. Intraday shorts on retests higher would be the play. We were looking for it to pop up in here. Didn't want to do that, and now they are slamming this thing down lower. Take a look at the 240 minute. We've come deeper into this range right here. 60-minute, no markup on the chart, just to see a clean picture. That's the ES. No trades yet. Could have put a sell stop down here at 37.65 right below the overnight low for a break of that on strong momentum after these numbers came out. That would have been a nice little trade. About 12 points to the downside off of that push. Trading right in here. Tag that. I thought we may want to get above that and get a little bit higher before doing this, but how she goes. We are still moving lower. Now down almost 40 points on the ES. NASDAQ down 95. That guy's pulling back too. VIX is up 6% now. 5150 is very close to getting hit on this daily. We still have 50 minutes for this hourly candle to close, so I mean this thing can rally all the way back up and then basically nullifies this level, but if we got to close on this hourly level, or this hourly candle right now, then this would be a spot for a retest back up to short. We wanted that to happen, but we wanted that up higher, and it didn't happen, so now we're here. Two ticks above this daily level, this open on this candle. Getting a little bit of a bounce. Come back into this range, deep into this range. Nothing great looking, especially on this 5 minute. Oh, that was 15 minutes, sorry. Alert up here. Put it at the low, overnight low, 65. See if we get back up there. Short it. Let's take a look at some stocks. What's moving here? Up 63% on this guy, SENS. Cannabis stocks all gapping up, moving higher too. CBD MD. And this thing was trading at 50 cents. Now we're at $4. Wow. Zooming away. So close to our level. We had a gap fill level at 326.30. Never filled it yet. Got a little gap here up at 408. Hasn't filled that either. Another one higher. Still right. Things gapped up. Another pulling back. Good old ACB. Same thing. Gap up. Now pulling back. These things have just been dead money since a couple of years ago. Couple ETFs that track this stuff too. MJ is the bigger one. Higher lows and higher highs. Higher high. If it pulls back, would be a higher low if we can hold that. 17 to 1550 right in here, these two levels. Are you guys interested in these stocks? Strong move away, pull back. Up on board. That would be the spot. Pot X is the other. Broke this range. Strong move up. Dips back into the range before making a bigger move. That would be the idea. Having some trouble in this 1650-ish area. Better gap down all the way down there at 9. You need to see almost a 50% drop from current market price down here to fill that. So not likely in the short term, but always good to keep an eye on it. 11 as well. GM, same thing. Strong move up. Took out its IPO high. Would like to see this thing pull back. Never filled this gap down at 38. That's what we were waiting for. Held that gap up and moved up. Took out the high again. Got another gap right here, 45 quarter. Something to pay attention to. Could dip a little bit lower in there. Having some trouble today, as is everything. Oh, Kroger. You never came back to our level. Kroger took off. Gap down on earnings. Held that gap down low. At a higher high, higher low. Held the top end of the range. And now is exploding higher. Off the downtrend break. So many stocks. So much to look at. Can't catch them all. Right? The other grocery store, Albertsons. He did fill its gap. I mismarked it. 1682. Had a level at 1614. Never crossed below it, so we didn't get alerted. So that didn't work. But this guy has been moving higher. You can see the inverse head and shoulder pattern. Bigger picture is kind of what this represented. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. For the move higher and the break of that level. Which it did. It broke through that. It pulled back to that breakout. And now it's moved up even higher. So we'll have to see where this wants to finish this week. If we can finish above last week's open, even close, or high, excuse me, then we'd expect that it would hold somewhere in the 17 to 16 area and keep moving up. It already did its retest of the breakout area. It held that, and now it's moved up. It's got to take this high out, swing high at 18 quarter. If it does that, it's going to keep moving up. Just some ideas for y'all, how we look at things. I think the Walmart CEO was stepping down. News headline. Not much to do. Got it marked lower at 140, 141. Be a gap fill. This was the origin of the move that took the high out, this previous high. This high got taken out from this level in here. Market pulled back after getting close. Held that high, established a higher low. Broke through that, broke through that. Now pulling back. Want to see it get back in here. I mean, we got a lot of levels lower that are much better on most of these stocks, but we're trying to pick the closest levels to current market price to get some sort of move out of it. DraftKings getting whacked. The alert didn't go off for some reason. Okay. ES doing? Still going down. Went right through our daily open level on this candle. 51. Broke through it. Down 45 on the ES now. What we said at the beginning of the stream, weak market environment, outside previous day's trading range, below the previous close and open, looking for shorts is the better option until we get to a daily level. And one daily level has gotten blown through, and we'll see if this next one coming up here wants to hold. Oh, is it? Pulling back into that range, 44, 45. Oh. Twitter, Twitter, Twitter. Okay. This thing is going to try and bounce again. Just continuing to move lower. There it is, another new low. 41.50. And back to the 60-minute. What was that level on the daily? 40.50. I think that was that daily level. Just remove that. You guys can see on the 60-minute I have this level right here highlighted. 28 to 23. Basically the 50% mark of this range right in here. Dropped, we traded up, dropped from there, came back up again. Strong move, broke through this middle of the range, tagged the high, took the high out, pulled back, not quite to that. Maybe a little spot for a bounce. Just waiting and watching. Just alert it, just to keep an eye on it. If it does dip below this 40.50. Bank's pulling back now. Cannabis still up, but pulled back. Tesla's pulling back now too. Nvidia getting whacked. It's down less than 2%, but it's moving lower. Just like AMD. Beyond had some news yesterday. That thing rallied up pretty nicely. Holding this 111 level back up to 137. Waiting for a retest lower, below 130. Held a higher low off this earnings gap down. We can retest a little bit lower. We got some room to the upside on this guy. Peloton made a high yesterday, now has pulled back after filling its gap a couple days ago at 145. Ford has had a nice run, basically a double since last year's lows. Filled a gap recently. 855. Shot up through that level. Running into some resistance up here. Having a pullback, not a bad idea. Not a bad thing. Gives us an opportunity to get into some things. So, just watching that. So, sea of red. It is a sea of red. A few green sprouts. A few things are up. Facebook is up for some reason. Got a gap lower on Facebook. 235. Been waiting for that level for quite some time. Lines up with the weekly too. So waiting on that guy, even though he's green today. Snapchat, he's up. But red candle. This weekly candle set a high and is reversing. If that's the case, and this closes where it's at, most likely it's going to keep moving down. Uber's had a nice run as well. Pulling back. Almost tagged our level. Disney. Oh, they're canceling annual memberships? Well, yeah, in California. I mean, it's not even open here, so. I know. It's crazy. Florida's open. Walt Disney World's open. Florida's no worse than we are, right? In terms of numbers. COVID. They're lower. Oh, okay. Yeah, and I think it's specifically here in LA County. Goody. Yeah, we're. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Okay, we set a low right above that level, that daily level we were looking at, 37.40.50. Got a couple ticks above that, I think. Yeah, about a point above that. It's trying to bounce. What were you saying, Tori? Yeah. All right. Aren't they turning Disneyland into a vaccination site, just like Dodger Stadium? Yeah, I think so. The prickliest place on earth, huh? Start poking people with needles. That off. Like it wants to hold for now. Yeah, we got about a half hour left. We got little man's school coming up here, so I have to end the stream and resume next week. Oh, that sounds fun. Nothing like a good anal gland test, whatever, for the doggos. Boy, on this little pullback, surprised the Fed hasn't come out, said something. I'm just kidding. No down days, huh? Spotify with the big gap down. Ah, there it was. Not quite on the cash markets. This is why we pay attention to the cash markets when you're trading the futures contract. Right in there. So close. Same with SPX. Sometimes the cash will do it first, and then the futures follow. A lot of cases, futures will do it first, and the cash follows. Got the gap fill right there. This was a gap. Yeah, price traded within this wick, but this was the close and this was the open. So there was this gap right here. 45-ish, 45.50. Pretty close to our continuous chart level of 40.50. And that's why we got a bounce. Now we have a gap to the upside. So we got a gap down in SPY, SPX. But gap down wasn't too big. And we have some close areas of demand possibly to hold this up still. Excuse me. Could get a pullback all the way down to here at some point. 52. First stop would be up here though. 64. And this is on SPY. Basically, you got a range, consolidation at the top end of the range, break of the range, pull back to the range, and a big strong move away. and you get a pull back to that area. You see it holds there again, sets the higher low, breaks up, consolidates at the top end of the range, takes this range out, pulls back, sets a higher low, and we're off. And you can even see it down here too, or up here as well. Range, consolidate at the top end of the range, breaks through the range, pulls back to the range, holds the range, higher lows, and moves higher. A couple spots to see possible pullbacks too. There's a gap right here though, 57. We got to get through this first. Not to say that we're going to do this, but got to be aware of it. Looks like this thing wants to keep going up a little bit here. Maybe, maybe not. Do we have any other stocks going off here? Let's take a look. No other news today, don't believe. Yeah, that's what we saw when the numbers came out. Inflation expectations jumped up. A little weaker on the consumer sentiment. Biden came out with his $1.9 trillion rescue package or whatever yesterday. Another $1,400 stimulus check to everybody. More spending, extending unemployment benefits, etc., etc. Other than that, nothing to write home about. No more numbers coming out today, so we're good on that. If this holds, if this low holds right here, 45 level, 40 level, we'll probably go retest up higher with a pullback, and then maybe an end of day ramp going into the weekend. We've gotten really wicky up here. Anytime weakness has shown up, people are buying the dips. So we would expect the same thing until it doesn't, right? We would need a break lower of these levels of these swing lows for us to see the confirmation to the downside. There's that same level in the ES, 32, 64, top end of the range. That below, hey, stop that. Have it above. Minutes before this 15-minute closes. About 17 minutes before the hourly closes. We're going to bounce in any of these stocks we're looking at? Not really. DoorDash coming down. Airbnb coming down. Fill the gap. 170. It's bounced. Kroger is going to the moon without us. Coca-Cola is continuing to pull back. See if it wants to hold this 48 level. Tesla flat on the day, basically. Down a couple points. Intel flat on the day. GameStop down about 8%. Cannabis stocks still up. Airlines pulling back a little bit today as well. Everything's just giving back a little bit what we've done the past couple days. Oh, the stream just cut out. Been having internet issues the past couple days. It's been really windy here, so the stream goes out. Sorry, guys. Do you have any dropped frames? Nope. That was weird. Hmm. Okay, 15-minute candle close. Still haven't gotten above this level of 60. See if he wants to pull back before it goes. Go to a smaller time frame on the cash session. Yep, there's the gap fill. Gap fill, gap fill. 30-minute. Right in here. Where's that gap fill? Gap fill up here. This level. Couple levels to pay attention to. SPY, same thing. There. Build its gap right here. SPX, same thing. Stream okay? Yeah, I think it's working. Seems to be alright. Hmm. Why it cut out? Gap down here on Spotify. 317-ish. I like these lower levels better, but closest one. H&R Block looking like a long right here. Off this weekly level. Came up, tagged it. Not a lot of conviction at the moment on this. You can see the weekly has just kind of drifted a little bit higher. Nice strong move up out of here though. 1605. These alerts. You can see the alert. It didn't even go off. I don't get it. Oh, thinkorswim. Sometimes you drive me nuts. Oh, Upwork. Did we not get alerted on Upwork? That was a gap fill on Upwork at 38. Tagged it to the T. Was the low. 38.05 was the low. 38 was the close of this candle. Probably didn't go off because it was 5 cents higher. Now you got a buck rally off of that already. Okay, we'll keep an eye on it. Upwork is looking good. Let's see. Still got plenty of time during the day session to see what happens. Market not doing a whole lot now after setting a low. Damn, it's windy here. It's rattling the house. Come on. You want to do it? Come on. We'll pull back consolidation at this breakdown right here. Looks like it wants to keep moving that. iRobot popped up through our level. Almost at 94. We were looking at it yesterday at 86, 85. We got about 5 minutes left. I'll have to kill the stream. But the Discord is still open. And the markets will still be moving. Take a look at some recent IPOs. Woof. Oh, pulled back. 27.50 on Wolf. Nice spot. It's bouncing back up. What else do we have that IPO'd recently? Posh. Ooh, ooh. This guy's pulling back quite a bit, down 14% almost. What else was there? This cannabis. That's 270 million shares traded today. What? Sundial Growers, okay. 270 million shares and a whole lot of nothing in terms of movement. Okay. Set its high, it's pulled back, resting at its high, or near it, consolidation. You can see that on the weekly. We got a pullback on the weekly, came back within this. It closes above, kind of where it's at, a little bit higher. May not be a bad thing to potentially get long this guy. I never even heard of him. Sundial Growers. Set the low at 13 cents. At a higher low, higher high, higher low. Next, we would expect a higher high off of this higher low, above a buck. I mean, this thing is 72 cents. So. Even with 1,000 shares, you're looking at 720 bucks worth of risk. Not that big a deal. We're gonna keep an eye on this guy. EOD, maybe take a look and see if we want to take a stab at it. Took this little pivot high out right here. Pulling back, not doing a whole lot. We set the low. Took this out. Let's see if it can hold right in here. If it can hold in here, then we're going to go up higher. If it can't go hold here, then we're going to go lower and test, and then it becomes a double bottom situation. Do we hold the lows? And then from here, do we move up? Got pretty close to our daily level. We saw the gap fill. All three versions of the S&P. This can hang on. It's 30 minute, and we probably will continue to move up and retest open high of day up here. Two minutes on the hourly, 2 minutes on the 5 minute. Wait for the candle to close. We can decide what we want to do. Not a whole lot at the moment going on. I know we're having somewhat of a red day, and we pulled back. Beginning of the stream, we talked about weak environment, weak trading environment. We were outside previous day's trading range, below the previous close and the open of yesterday. So shorts were the higher probability. You can see that from the beginning. We saw that. We were waiting for a level up a little bit higher, about 20 points higher than the open up here, up in this previous close area, 92-ish. We never got up there, and we broke through the overnight low. Came down to this daily level, broke through one little daily level, came down to this one, and this looks like it wants to hold for now. We'll go a few minutes after 8 o'clock. Okay, it's 8 now. Not the most conviction on the 15-minute. Probably going to pull back a little bit before moving up higher. In terms of our stocks, what do we want to do? Take a look real quick before we take off. VIX is getting a nice pop. Hedges, not too bad. Banks pulling back. eBay pulling back. Oh, right into this area that we were talking about, this 54.5. Gold is still making its way lower. What's the dollar doing? Dollar's rallying. Intel. He's staying up at these levels. After this gap up, he's still staying up here. Coca-Cola, yay. It just keeps moving lower. It filled its gap. We saw a little pop. Couldn't hold that and dropped a little bit lower into this level. Still within the weekly. So we're going to keep an eye on this guy. Nikolai, he is not doing a whole lot. He's still hanging on to this 20 level. We're long from 1550 on Nikolai. Space. Okay, he gapped up, filled his gap yesterday, and pulled back. He's trying to hang on. Gun stocks, same thing. Smith & Wesson filled its gap a couple days ago after getting up to its almost high, all-time high. Pulled back. It's kind of consolidating. We're making, looks like a lower high now. We'll see what it wants to do. Twitter, basically back to break even on Twitter, where we got long. See if it wants to hold this level. This was a gap down. This is where we got long right in here. This 44 broke out, tested it, rallied up, took out this high. And now it's pulled back. See if it can hold this before I retest back up to this 52 plus level. Under Armour. Still got a gap fill. It needs to complete up here at 20 is what our target is. We're long from, I think, 950 all the way back down here. Exxon is pulling back today. It filled its gap at 50.50. Now it's pulling back. Got some weakness. What is crude doing? Crude oil is down about 3%. Let's see here. Yep. Right into this range we talked about on Wednesday that we may run into some selling pressure, a little bit of a pullback. I thought we'd take it out before that happened, but it's happening before that. So we're pulling back a little bit. 48. Actually, that's 49.80 right here, and then 48.50. Two nearest spots of demand potentially. Yes, it's going off again. We're pulling back. Yes, I see it. Thank you. We're going to see if this wants to hold the low. Coming down to double bottom, potentially. Again, what we talked about at the beginning, weak market environment, shorts, better opportunity, higher probabilities today. Because we are outside and lower than yesterday's trading range, lower than yesterday's close. So retests higher and shorting opportunities with the higher probabilities. And you can see we've broken down quite a bit. From the first 15 minutes, we were up in the 75-ish area. We tagged 4150 as the low. So we'll see what the market wants to do a little bit later today, but that's it for the stream today, guys. We got little man in his school coming up here, so I gotta hop off and help him get that going. But thanks for stopping by. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. We'll do a bunch of live streams next week of the trading room, futures trading, stock trading, options trading. Come on by, stop by, and look at some markets. All right, have a good weekend.